Today we will learn a new lesson, plant and animal hormones. What are the learning objectives of this lesson? At the end of the lesson, you will know what is a hormone. Then you will know about the names of the plant hormones, and you will classify the plant hormones into growth promoters and growth inhibitors. You will also learn about physiological effects of various plant hormones, and you will understand how the plant hormones control and coordinate various physiological activities in the plants. Now we shall see the definition of plant hormones. Plant hormones are otherwise called as phytohormones. Phyto for plants. And these are nothing but the organic molecules that are produced at extremely low concentration. They are produced by the plants in very less amount, and they are enough to control the morphological, physiological and biochemical changes and responses in the plants. I repeat, phytohormones or the plant hormones are the organic molecules that are produced extremely at low concentration that controls the morphological and physiological and biochemical responses in the plants. And there are about 5 major hormones in plants. They are auxins, cytokinins, gibberellins, abscisic acid and ethylene. So when we classify them into two categories, the first three, auxin, cytokinins and gibberellins, are considered as growth promoters. They will enhance the growth of the plant, and so they are called as growth promoters. And the last two, abscisic acid and ethylene, are considered as growth inhibitors. They will stop the growth at certain time according to the need of the plant, and so they are considered as the growth inhibitors. Now we shall learn about the first hormone, auxins. Auxin in Greek means to grow, and this was the first plant hormone that was discovered. The term auxin was introduced by Koch and Hagen Smith in 1931. Auxins are normally produced at the tip of the stem and the roots, and they will migrate to the zone of elongation for the growth. Charles Darwin in 1818 observed a unilateral growth or the curvature of a canary grass botanical name Phalaris canariensis. He observed the curvature of the canary grass, and he came to a conclusion that some substance, and he termed it as influence, and that was produced at the tip of the coleoptile, is taken to the basal region, and that is only responsible for the growth of the coleoptile. And this influence then was identified as auxin by Wendt. And Wendt, he demonstrated this auxin by an experiment which is commonly called as Wendt experiment. Arnold Wendt, he is a Dutch biologist, demonstrated the existence and effect of auxin in plant. For this, he took the plant called Avena. Avena means oat plant. Avena coleoptiles, the seedlings of the Avena. In his first experiment, he just removed the tip of the Avena coleoptile, and he observed the cut end of the Avena. He could not see any growth. So he considered that the essential substance is present in the tip of the Avena, which is when removed suppresses the growth of the coleoptile. In his second experiment, he placed the agar block on the decapitated Avena tips. Then also he did not see any growth response. In his next experiment, he kept the cut tip of the coleoptile on the agar blocks, and after some time he discarded the cut tips and kept this agar block on the cut end of the coleoptile. After some hours, he could see that coleoptile was showing some growth. That means the substance which is present in the tip of the coleoptile has diffused into this agar block, and that has reached the coleoptile, which is responsible for this growth, that has stimulated the growth in the coleoptile. With this, he concluded that a chemical substance diffusing from the tip of the coleoptile was responsible for the growth, and he named it as auxin, which means to grow. Types of auxins. There are two types of auxins: natural auxins and synthetic auxins. Auxins that are produced by the plants naturally are called as natural auxins. Example for it is IAA, indole 3 acetic acid. What are synthetic auxins? Artificially synthesized auxins that will have the properties of the auxins are called as synthetic auxins. Example for synthetic auxin is 2,4-D, that is 2,4-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. Now let's see the physiological effects of auxin. What are physiological effects? The synthesis of auxin in the plant brings about certain changes, helps the plant to perform its functions, and they are called as physiological effects. First one is elongation of stem and coleoptile. The plant will increase in the length. The height of the plant will be increased because of the auxin, and also elongation of coleoptile. What are coleoptiles? Coleoptiles are nothing but the growing axis of the seed. The germinating seed will have the younger plant, and this is called as coleoptiles. Root formation. Auxin induces the root formation in lower concentration, whereas auxin will inhibit the root formation in higher concentration. Then apical buds. So auxins which are synthesized by the apical buds will suppress the growth of the lateral buds. You know what is apical bud? If this is the plant, so what comes in the terminal end of the plant is called as apical bud, and the branches which are arising from the stem of the plant is called as lateral buds. So when the apical bud is present in the plant, the lateral buds will not be produced, will not be grown. So this is what is called as apical dominance. So the auxins which are produced by the apical bud will suppress the growth of the lateral buds, and this phenomenon is called as apical dominance. The next one is it is administered in the plant to produce the seedless fruit, which we call as parthenocarpy. The seedless fruit without fertilization are induced by the external application of the auxin, which is called as parthenocarpy. So example for this is watermelon, seedless watermelon, grapes, lime, which are all of higher commercial value. Then auxin also prevents the formation of abscission layer in the plant. What is abscission layer? Abscission layer is the layer which is formed in the region of the plant where it has to detach itself from the plant. For example, if this is the leaf, the petiole, the point of attachment of the petiole, there will form the abscission layer that will make the leaf to fall from the plant. This formation of the abscission layer, when it is prevented, the leaf will not fall from the plant. So this is done by the use of that auxin. When it is this is used for preventing the falling of the leaves, fruits or flowers from a plant by preventing the formation of the abscission layer. Plant hormone is cytokinin. Cytokinin promotes cell division, that is cytokinesis, and this was first isolated from the herring fish sperm. This cytokinin hormone is first removed or isolated from the herring, is the name of the fish. From that sperm they have isolated it, and the cytokinin which is removed, which is extracted from the zea mays or the maize plant, is called as zeatin. So these are the names of the cytokinin, and this is found in abundant in the endosperm, liquid endosperm of coconut. What is called liquid endosperm of coconut is nothing but the thengai thannir. Now let us see the physiological effects of cytokinin. So first physiological effect that already we have seen, it promotes the cell division. So in the presence of auxin, so auxin must be there that will promote the cell plant growth. In the presence of the auxin, it will induce the cell division, and it is also responsible, cytokinin is also responsible for cell enlargement, and both means auxin and cytokinin are essential for the formation of the new organs from callus. Callus is nothing but a group of similar cells. This is formed in the tissue culture. Any part of the plant can be cultured, even a single cell. From a single cell, many cells can be formed, and this group it is called as callus, which is done in the tissue culture in the laboratory. From the callus, if you want to produce the other organs like root, stem, etc., you have to administer both the auxin and cytokinin together. So both auxin and cytokinin are essential for the formation of new organs from the callus, and this process, the formation of the new organs from the callus, is called as morphogenesis. Fourthly, cytokinin promotes the lateral bud even in the presence of the apical bud. Even if the plant is having the apical bud, lateral buds are produced when you have the cytokinin in the plant. Fifth one is it will delay the aging process in the plant. Application of cytokinin delays the process of aging in plants, and this is what is called as Richmond-Lang effect. Now the third hormone, gibberellins. Gibberellins are found abundant in the plant. Kurosawa in 1926 observed this first in his rice crops. He could see some of the rice plants were growing very tall because of the internodal elongation. And when he found the causative organism for this, he was able to see a fungus in association with these plants, which causes the disease called Buchanay disease or the foolish seedling disease in rice. And this fungus name is called as Gibberella fugicori. The active substance which is present in this fungus, which is responsible for causing the internodal elongation, is called as gibberellic acid. So you know what is internode. So internode is nothing but the distance between two consecutive nodes in the plant body. So the internodal elongation is caused by gibberellic acid, which is the active substance present in the Gibberella fugicori fungus. Now let us see the physiological effects of gibberellins. So as we have seen, it causes the elongation of the internode in the plants like corn and pea. And when you treat the plant, rosette plant, what do you mean by rosette? All the leaves will arise from the single node. So this is what is called as rosette plant. So when you treat this rosette plant with gibberellic acid, it will induce sudden shoot elongation, which is followed by the flowering, and this process is called as bolting. Now what is bolting? The treatment of the rosette plant with the gibberellic acid induces a sudden shoot elongation followed by flowering is called as bolting. Thirdly, production of the male flowers in the monoecious plant. What do you mean by monoecious? So both the male and the female flower will be born on the same plant, which is called as monoecious. So here male flowers will be more when you administer this gibberellins in the plant. The production of the male flowers in the monoecious plant can be caused by the gibberellins. Example for it is cucurbits. Fourthly, it breaks the dormancy of the potato tubers. So potato tubers will have the eye region from which the buds will be present inside. So it will break, the gibberellic acid administration will break the dormancy in the potato tubers, and so the buds will emerge out. And it is also helpful for producing the parthenocarpic fruit as in the case of auxin in the plant like tomato. So parthenocarpic means fruits are produced without fertilization. The hormone is abscisic acid, and it is found in the chloroplast of the plant, and it is a growth inhibitor. So inhibitor means it prevents or stops the growth of the plant at certain stages, and it regulates the abscission and dormancy. What do you mean by abscission? Abscission means separation of the leaves, flowers, fruits from the branches of the plants. And dormancy, the bud will not be growing. Bud will be present in the plant, but it will not be growing. It will be kept inside the plant without growth, and it is regulated by the abscisic acid. and it increases the tolerance of the plant to the various stresses like drought, shortage of water, etc. And so it is called a stress hormone. So abscisic acid is otherwise called a stress hormone because it increases the presence of abscisic acid, increases the tolerance of the plants towards various stress. Let us see the physiological effect of the abscisic acid. First one, it promotes the abscission. Abscission in plants means separation of the leaves, flowers and fruits from the branches. When they mature, they will fall off by the formation of the abscission layer, and that is caused by the abscisic acid in the plant. Secondly, it causes the closure of the stomata at the time of water stress or in drought condition, by which it prevents the transpiration, and so it helps the plant to overcome the water stress. Thirdly, it promotes the senescence especially in the leaves by causing the loss of chlorophyll. The leaf will become yellow in color and will wither off. It happens in the deciduous forest. Fourthly, it induces the bud dormancy in the plants, trees like birch. During winter season, before winter, the buds will be kept in silence, inactive, and they will not be growing. So it induces the bud dormancy in the trees like birch. The lateral bud, it inhibits the growth of the lateral bud in the tomato plant. So it is acting as a powerful inhibitor of lateral buds growth in the tomato plant. Is ethylene. Ethylene is a gaseous plant hormone, and it is also a growth inhibitor, which means it stops the growth of the plant. Then it is concerned with maturation and ripening of fruits. So the secretion of this ethylene is maximum during the fruit formation, ripening of the fruits in the plant like apple, banana and melons, etc. Now, what are the physiological effects of ethylene? So ethylene promotes the ripening of fruits in fruits like tomato, apple, mango, banana, etc. And it inhibits the elongation of the root and stem in dicot plants. So administration of this ethylene gas will inhibit or stops the elongation of the stem root in the dicot plants. Thirdly, ethylene will hasten the senescence of leaves and flowers. It will foster the process of the senescence of leaves and flowers, by which it will shed. So flowers shedding and the leaf shedding happens in the plants during certain season, and that is caused by the hormone called as ethylene. And fourthly, it stimulates the formation of the abscission zone, by which the premature shedding of the leaves, flowers and fruits happens in some plants. Fifthly, it breaks the dormancy of the buds and seeds, and also in the storage organs. Breaks the dormancy means the abscisic acid will induces the bud dormancy, whereas the ethylene gas will break the dormancy of the buds of the seeds as well as in the storage organ, by which the germination will be induced. The seeds will germinate as well as the buds in the storage organs, and the plant will be induced, or they will germinate faster.